G'day mates. The other Sheilas and I would like to thank you for joining us today. We are Team Australia. Sheila, Sue, Debbie, and I'm Carol. I'd like to open our presentation on conducting business in the land down under with a brief history on Australia. Australia was established on January 26, 1788, when the first group of settlers arrived, establishing a colony on the east coast of Australia in New South Wales, and that day is now celebrated every year as National Day. Australia as a nation has 6 states and 2 territories. Both states and territories have their own parliament and flag since joining to become a federated nation on January 1st, 1901, with a federal constitution, 1 parliament, and the Australian flag. The capital of Australia is Canberra. And did you know that Australia is located on the smallest continent in the world, but is the biggest island on Earth? Working in Australia is a privilege, not a right. Most temporary visa holders have work rights, although some classes of visas only allow a limited work right. In order to be given that privilege, there are some steps you need to take. I would like to address what those steps are for you prior to you leaving your home and conducting business in Australia. First, be sure you have a valid passport. If you do not have a passport, it can take approximately 6 to 8 weeks to obtain that. Passports cost between $100 and $120 for your initial one. If you are renewing a passport, the cost is between $20 and $75. A passport is needed for the visa application. You need to determine the type of visa you will need based on the type of business you intend to conduct, and then start the application process. The application process varies. I read on the immigration website in the answers to most frequently asked questions, and it indicates that the process could take years. However, I believe each individual circumstance will warrant the time frame needed. The application itself can be many pages. The number of forms you as an individual will need will depend on your circumstances, and all filing of your applications can be completed online. We as a group have decided to focus on 3 types of visas: the working holiday visa, the skilled visa, and the business visa. If you have a working holiday visa, you can work in a job with each employer for up to 6 months. This type of visa is for applicants 18 to 30 years old from countries that have a reciprocal arrangement with Australia. A skilled visa is for workers with trained skills. This type of visa is seen as essential to the Australian people, and they are encouraged to apply. There may be registration or licensing requirements, and you should contact the relevant authorities in Australia for your trade or practice. Business visas fall under 2 categories. There's a short stay visa, which allows business people to visit Australia for up to 3 months. Eligible activities include conducting negotiations, attending conferences, or to find business opportunities. Then there is a provisional business visa. This can also allow you to stay in Australia, but up to 4 years. And if staying longer than 4 years, it could be possible to obtain a business skill residence visa. The next step would be the medical examination. Part of the application process is being examined by an approved physician. You also need to make sure all of your immunizations are up to date, and it is advisable to get an influenza and tetanus shot prior to leaving the United States. You need to research the type of electrical adapters you will need. All of Australia runs on 220 current. The United States runs mostly on 110, so you will need an adapter to charge your computer, your cell phone, and other small electronics that you deem necessary to bring home with you, or to bring with you. This is a small yet essential item. Next, do your research on the company or companies whom you plan to do business with. Ask yourself these basic questions. How long has the company been in business? Now, and how long has the company been in business under their current name? This may give you some idea about the history and stability of the company. What is the company's status? Is it registered, deregistered? Deal only with registered companies. Deregistered means they cannot operate legally. Has the company sent the Australian Securities and Investment Commission any financial details? Checking into a company's financial data can give you great insight on their history. Who are the directors and company officers? How long have they been with the company? These answers will give you insight, again, on stability and company turnover. What is the company worth? Is it a $2 company, or does it have more capital? Who are the members of the company? The names and details about members will tell you more about who is behind the company. Next, we go to the Australian climate. Did you know that Australia's seasons are the opposite of those of the Northern Hemisphere? Summer is from December to February, and autumn is from March to May. Winter is from June to August, and spring is from September to November. In researching the climate, I found that Australia is one of the driest countries in the world. Much of the interior is flat, barren, and sparsely populated. Yet much of northern Australia has a tropical climate. The fact is that Australia is so large that it experiences most climate conditions, ranging from snow and frost to heat waves. The coldest being Tasmania. The hottest is the central west of the continent. The Northern Territory experiences monsoon-type rainfall in their wet season, which is January to March. Now, even though English is the language spoken in Australia, you need to familiarize yourself with the Australian slang. Check out the Macquarie Dictionary Book of Slang. That's the one I found that was most helpful. And last for me, but definitely not least, is the tax file number. Depending on how you are to be paid at your new job, you may need to obtain a tax file number and a bank account. If you are in Australia on a working visa through your United States-based company, then the United States company will pay you in US dollars. So there is no need to obtain a tax file number. If, however, you are in Australia on your own, working for a corporation, you will need to obtain a tax file number before you can be paid by the Australian company. I would now like to turn and introduce Sheila, who will be continuing our presentation.